Most students think that question 1 of paper 2 is the easiest question, but every year thousands still lose marks because they rush it. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to lock in all 4 marks every time, fast. So what we're going to do today, we're going to have a look at the November 2017 paper, and for this question, the source is The Other Side of the Dale by Gervase, Phinn. You're going to select 4 true statements from 8 possible statements, and it's based on lines 1 to 10 of source A. We'll model the method and then you'll practice with the question. The target is to get 4 out of 4 in about 3 minutes. And this is the gateway to the paper. It is a more accessible question than the others, so it to sort of warm you up. Okay, so it's testing assessment objective 1, which is identifying and interpreting explicit and implicit information and ideas. So the difference between explicit and implicit: explicit means that it's directly stated. Implicit means that it's implied. So it's testing both. So sometimes you have to work out whether an answer is correct or not because it's directly stated, but because it's implied. But we'll have a look at this. So there's no extended writing. You just tick the 4 true statements, and you must keep your evidence strictly in the line range that the question gives. I would actually mark it. Here it's the first 10 lines, so I'd mark it. Another top tip I've got is that don't read the whole passage and then start on question 1. Just read the first, in this case, 10 lines, and then do question 1, and then go back and read the whole passage. This gives you a flying start. You've got the specific passage in your mind right from the beginning. Some of you may realise that from 2026, the exam paper has changed, but the good news is that this question has not changed. You're choosing the 4 true statements. The line range can differ slightly. Sometimes it's lines 1 to 7, but it's usually the first bit of the paper. Okay, so this is from the actual paper from November 2017. You choose 4 statements. So those are the 4 statements. We'll come back to those, but we'll just read, first of all, the first 10 lines. Sister Brendan, the head teacher, saw my car pull up outside her office window and was at the door of the school to greet me before I had a chance to straighten my tie and comb my hair. She beamed so widely that, had she worn lipstick, I would have expected to see traces on her ears. The small school was sited in the disadvantaged centre of Crompton, a dark and brooding northern industrial town. Tall black chimneys, great square featureless warehouses, and row on row of mean terraces stretched into the valley beyond. The school was adjacent to a grim and forbidding wasteland of derelict buildings and piles of rubble, surrounded by half-demolished houses which seemed to grow upwards like great red jagged teeth from blackened gums. From the grime and dust, I walked into an oasis, a calm, bright, welcoming and orderly building. Okay, so that's the passage. So as I said, you read that first and you only use the information from here. So underline the factual anchors, the transport, the location, the setting, those words, and cross-check each statement against a quoted word or phrase and tick exactly 4. So if in doubt, don't guess, go back and check. So let's have a look. Have a go at this. The inspector travels to the school by train. Well, obviously, you look in the first line and you think, no, the head teacher saw my car pull up. So obviously, he travelled by car. Sister Brendan reacts quickly to the arrival of the inspector. So again, you look and you see, does she react quickly? So at the door of the school to greet me before I had the chance to tighten my tie. So yes, she does react quickly. The people who live in the centre of Crompton are mostly wealthy. It's a disadvantaged centre of Crompton. So obviously they're not wealthy. There are no chimneys or warehouses in Crompton. Well, here we've got tall black chimneys, great square featureless warehouses. There are, aren't there? So that's not true. The school is situated next to a wasteland. We'll have a look. The school was adjacent to a grim and forbidding wasteland. Adjacent means next to, so that is true. Some of the houses in the town have been damaged. So you can see here half demolished houses, derelict buildings, so they obviously have been damaged. The inspector thinks Crompton is a lively and cheerful place. Well, he said it's a dark and brooding northern industrial town, so it's cheerful. The school is well cared for. Well, he writes, I walked into an oasis, a calm, bright, welcoming and orderly building. So that is true. So as you can see from this, some of it is implicit information, some of it is explicit, but you do need to look carefully and keep going back to the passage. Well, I think we've been through this already. So the correct answers are B, E, F and H. So saw my car was at the door to greet me before I had the chance, so she reacts quickly. The school was adjacent to a grim, forbidding wasteland. So even if you didn't know that word adjacent, the fact that it mentions a grim, forbidding wasteland, you'd think, oh, yes, it definitely, there is one. Half demolished houses, so obviously some of them are damaged, and an oasis of calm, bright, welcoming. That does imply that it's well cared for. It's implicit. It doesn't actually say the school is well cared for, but it's implied through these words. So why are these false? So she saw my car pull up. That's obviously didn't arrive. There's no mention of a train. Compton is disadvantaged, dark and brooding. That doesn't imply that it's mostly wealthy. The text does mention tall black chimneys and warehouses, and obviously the inspector does not think the town is lively and cheerful. What you need to do is, if you're not sure, keep looking back at the passage and try to choose the shortest possible quote to prove the statement. Obviously, you don't need quotations. You just need to tick, 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 and quickly move on. But you do need to make sure that they're accurate, because sometimes if you're reading it really quickly, it might be easy to get them wrong. Okay, common pitfalls and how to fix them. Just pick 4 statements. Some people pick 5, and obviously that means that you can't get full marks if you pick 5. Some students go outside the line range, so just circle or mark the lines that you're actually meant to look at. Don't guess without proof. Find a word that proves it, and don't overthink it. If a plain synonym fits, for example, orderly, that means it's sort of well cared for, doesn't it? And that's fine. So those are some top tips, but hopefully you will get full marks for this. It is intended as a gateway into the paper, and in 2017, 78% of students scored full marks. With the routine above, you should bank 4 marks. Stay in the line range, verify the choices with a word or a phrase, and tick exactly 4, and avoid anything outside those lines. Okay, so that's it for today. If you want to carry on looking at paper 2, because I know most people find paper 2 more challenging than paper 1, we're going to be doing a series on paper 2, and next lesson it's going to be question 2. So do subscribe for further videos